beautiful girls, welcome back to another video. So judging from this title, you guys already know I'm gonna be a little personal today. Not too much, letting you guys in on a little bit more about me as a person. So yes, I'm gonna be talking about why I've never had sex and I'm afraid of dating. So let's get started. As you see, I have my matcha. So good. So good. So, I will not say that I'm afraid of dating. When I was younger, believe it or not, I was interested in dating more so than I am today. I was curious about the idea of dating. So, I had this vision of how dating should be. And I envisioned, like, okay, this fantasy, you know, it's gonna be like this when I start dating, and then I would admire, a couple people from afar, and I would see myself dating them. But see, that's all it was supposed to have been, just admiring from afar. I was never supposed to have gotten a relationship in the first place. When I started dating, I realized that it was not what I anticipated or expected. That vision, what I envisioned in a relationship, it was not it. So I started kind of questioning why I'm in a relationship and why this is not for me. When you're younger, you just kind of trying to figure yourself out, learning new things about you, testing the waters. We tried so many things when we were younger, and that's just kind of where I was at. But I was sure, I would at least say when I was younger, I was sure that I did not want a relationship. That's for sure. So I got out of that first relationship, and then I started dating again shortly after, and it was the same thing. So I told myself that I'm just not gonna date anymore. I'll probably try it years down the line when I mature a little bit more and go back at it. 3-4 years later, I got into another relationship. It didn't make really a difference. I will say that when I was dating, when I was in high school, one of the reasons why I stopped dating is because of the physical. What I mean by the physical is the touching. So I did not like the touching, the holding hands, the closeness, the kissing. I I was just not a fan of that. And so that in itself is what pushed me away. I tried dating again, and I still had those strong feelings, the physical and the whole commitment. Another one of my main issues was the timing. So, when you are getting to know someone, you have to put in a lot of time and effort if you want a relationship to work. That's with family members, sister, brothers, any relationship. If you want it to work, you have to make that time. I just didn't want to make the time. After those relationships, I just decided that I was going to try dating later on when I'm a little bit more mature. And maybe I'll know what I want out of a relationship, really. So I'll say 3-4 years later, I got into another relationship, and it was really no different. I would say the kissing and touching and stuff, it wasn't as bad as it was when I was in high school. But it was like, I got out of that relationship shortly after. And then I told myself that, okay, I'm done. I didn't date after that. I think that was like when I was 21, 22. And since then, I've been single. People often wonder why I have not dated after that. Why am I still a virgin? I say that proudly because I'm just not trying. I'm not really trying to commit or put myself out there. I don't think it makes me a bad person. It just means that it's not really invested. Other things are taking up my time. The relationship is not a main priority to me. It's more so my life and my career and the things that I'm doing as far as with goals. And I think another reason why I don't date is because the society. So social media is such a big thing. And nowadays, in a relationship, I'm talking about the relationship aspect. So nowadays, you hear about relationships. So they pretty much teach you that you need to be in a relationship, you need to be married with kids and stability. But society hardly ever teaches about self-love. You know what I mean? Not to the degree that relationships with people and marriage and kids. Not on that degree. So we hardly hear about self-love, and I think that is what needs to be taught. Self-love. Because if we had more of that, we wouldn't feel the need to have to get into relationships quickly. Enjoy being in our own company. Take ourselves out. We can make ourselves just as happy. Less stress and drama. Things like that. I think that definitely needs to be taught more in our society because it's not. We need to learn to be in the company of ourselves because you have so many people that are disgusted with how they look. They can't even be in their own presence for 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. And I just think that is sad in itself. And you have a lot of people that feel like they have to be in a relationship. They'll get in a relationship, break up, and then 1 month later they're in another relationship. It's just one of those things that you need to slow down and you need to kind of analyze and evaluate yourself. And another reason why I'm single and never had sex is because how I was raised and brought up. And I've always been around a lot of people growing up, and I just observe and I watch certain situations what people will go through in a relationship, and I will often tell myself, no, this is not for me. I'm not going to be put in that situation. And another reason why I don't date is because of the simple fact is, how long are you willing to wait for a person? What I mean by that is, by me being 37 years old and I've never had sex, I'm a virgin, I'm going to be picky about who I get involved with. So just basically getting to know that person. And like I said, that can take a year, 2 years for me. And I'm not expecting that person to want to wait for me that long. So how long is a partner willing to wait for you to have sex? And my thing is I don't feel like it would even be fair to even ask a person to wait for me that long. And that's another reason why I don't put myself out there and don't commit. And I think one more reason that's just kind of in the back of my head is just the cheating part. So I will say, and I will admit that, I watch some videos. One of my favorite YouTube channels that I watch really deal with kind of like the whole cheating thing. And I will watch it sometimes and I will tell myself I'm not going to be put in that situation. And I guess it just sort of turns me off the whole dating situation. And I'm going to just be honest. I'm not saying that that's all men's case because it's not. But the ones that talk to me and introduce themselves to me, they often look at me and they see one thing. They feel like that they can hook up with me. It's going to take a whole lot for me to just break. As far as not like, break as far as like hooking up and having sex with just anyone. It's going to take a whole lot. And I'm, like I said, and I'm just to the point where I don't even want to put someone through that, because I will have a person waiting for a long time, and it will not be fair. And the reason I will have a person waiting so long is because deep down I don't really want it.